Are you tired of struggling, while it seems like others are rising? Have you ever asked, why was I born into this? Why does life always feel harder for me? If you're facing poverty, rejection, or pain that you didn't cause, this video is for you. Today we uncover the forgotten Bible story of a man named Jabez, a man whose life began with sorrow but ended in success. He was born with a curse in his name, a name that meant pain. Yet through intentional prayer and unshakable faith, Jabez broke free and experienced a total life turnaround. In this video you'll discover why your background doesn't define your destiny, how spiritual curses can be broken, and how God can rewrite your story just like he did for Jabez. So don't click away, because your own success after pain and suffering could begin with what you're about to watch. They called him Jabez. Every time someone spoke his name, it reminded him of what he carried. Misfortune, a label he never chose. In the Bible, names weren't just identification, they were declarations. And Jabez's name wasn't a blessing, it was a verbal prison. His mother gave him that name not out of joy, but out of bitterness and suffering. Imagine being introduced every day as the one who brings sorrow. He lived with rejection. He lived with lack. He lived with pain that came not from what he did, but from a name tied to someone else's suffering. Yet the Bible says something unusual. Jabez was more honorable than his brothers. 1 Chronicles 4 verse 9. That means even in the pain he didn't let the pain define him. Jabez quietly battled what no one else saw. The emotional weight, the shame, the whispers. Maybe you know what that feels like. To be looked down on, to be called useless, to be trapped in a cycle you didn't start. But hold on, because this is not where his story ends, and it's not where yours ends either. Let's go deeper. While the world saw pain, God saw potential. The Bible says, Jabez was more honorable than his brothers. 1 Chronicles 4 verse 9. That one line changes everything. Jabez wasn't defined by his name. He wasn't limited by his family. He was more honorable. But here's the mystery. What made him honorable? He had no royal blood, no wealth, no fame. Yet in God's eyes he stood out above all. Why? Because Jabez had something his brothers didn't, a heart that refused to settle for pain. He carried sorrow but never let it harden his spirit. He lived in hardship but kept his faith alive. His greatness was hidden but not forgotten. And when the time was right, his honor became the key to his breakthrough. Maybe today you feel unseen, overlooked, silently carrying more than people know. But just like Jabez, you may be more honorable than you think. And soon, God may be ready to lift you from the shadows. Stay with this story, because in the next part we see how Jabez finally fought back. Not with his hands but with his spirit. Jabez had every reason to give up. Born into pain, named for suffering, pushed into silence. But one day he decided enough was enough. He didn't fight with anger. He didn't curse his past. He didn't blame his mother. Instead he went to war in prayer. The Bible says simply, Jabez called on the God of Israel. 1 Chronicles 4 verse 10. That one decision changed everything. When others stayed quiet, Jabez spoke up to heaven. He didn't ask man to help him. He didn't ask society to fix him. He went straight to the source, God himself. And that's when everything shifted. Because when you feel like you're stuck under a curse, the only power strong enough to break it is the power of prayer. Jabez's spiritual fight wasn't loud, but it was real. He stood up on the inside. He refused to be pitted. He said, "This is not how my story will end, and neither should yours." In the next part, we'll hear the actual words Jabez prayed and how those words still shake heaven today. Jabez didn't pray a long, fancy prayer. He didn't quote 1,000 scriptures. But his heart was pure and his words were bold. Here's what he prayed. "Oh, that you would bless me indeed and enlarge my territory. Let your hand be with me, and keep me from harm so that I will be free from pain." 1 Chronicles 4 verse 10. This was not a selfish prayer. This was a man crying out to be free from the pain he didn't choose. Let's break it down. Bless me indeed. Jabez asked God to reverse the curse and pour out favor. Enlarge my territory. He wanted more than survival. He prayed for expansion, influence, opportunity. Let your hand be with me. He knew true success could only happen with God's presence. Keep me from harm so I'll be free from pain. He prayed to break the cycle of suffering. This prayer was powerful because it was intentional. It came from the pain of his past and the hope for a better future. And here's the most powerful line in the story. And God granted his request. Heaven heard, and God said yes. One prayer broke the curse. One prayer changed his name. One prayer opened his future. And if God did it for Jabez, he can do it for you. In the next part, we'll witness the divine reversal, when God steps in and rewrites a painful destiny. Jabez prayed, and God answered. Just like that, the story shifted. From a cursed beginning to a blessed future. From being called pain, to becoming a man of honor, influence, and spiritual legacy. The Bible doesn't give us all the details, but one thing is clear. And God granted his request. 1 Chronicles 4 verse 10. In that moment, the curse was broken. The sorrow his mother spoke over him was silenced by God's blessing. God didn't just remove the pain, he enlarged his territory. He lifted Jabez from a life of limitation and set him on a path of increase. This is what God does best. He steps into broken stories and rewrites them with grace. He turns pain into purpose. He turns rejection into honor. He turns poverty into provision. Maybe life has called you failure, shame, or nothing good. But just like Jabez, God can give you a new name, a new season, and a new success. The world may have labeled you, but God is the one who defines you. And when he blesses you, no curse can stay. In our final part, we'll look at how Jabez's victory speaks directly into your life today, and how you can step into your own comeback story. Jabez started his life with a curse. But he didn't end there. His story proves that where you begin is not where you must finish. And just like Jabez, many today are living under the weight of labels, family history, or generational pain they didn't cause. Maybe you've been called too poor to succeed, too broken to be healed, too forgotten to matter. But remember, God specializes in rewriting painful stories. Jabez didn't wait for the world to understand him. He didn't beg people to change their minds. He went straight to God with a faithful and focused prayer. And God honored it. This is your moment to do the same. You can choose to break free from generational poverty, emotional pain, invisible battles, and pray like Jabez. Lord, bless me, enlarge my territory, let your hand be with me, and keep me from pain. That's not just a prayer, it's a declaration that you believe God can do more. You refuse to stay limited. You trust that success can still come after the pain. Jabez's story is your assurance. God sees, God hears, God answers. So rise up, pray boldly, and prepare for a divine turnaround, because your name may have started in sorrow, but your future is stamped with glory. If this story blessed you, don't keep it to yourself. Share this video with someone who needs hope. Drop a comment and say, I believe my story is changing. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to Faith Alive for more Bible stories that ignite faith and inspire breakthrough.